Tonight on Si's Eyes on the Skies.
Well, March is right around the corner, but it really doesn't feel like it out there. I'll break down the week coming up for you later in the show.
Plus, Jackson has your national forecast. All that and much more as this Tuesday, February 26th edition of Si's Eyes on the Skies starts right now.
Live from Studio 171 in Ames, Iowa, the Iowa State Meteorology Department team of meteorologists brings you the latest weather from around the country and out your front door. Iowa State's longest running television program and the only live weather broadcast on campus starts right now. This is Si's Eyes on the Skies.
Welcome back to Si's Eyes. I'm now joined by the majestic Matt.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
How was your day today?
Oh, it's good, man. It's almost March, right? And it's freezing out there.
Yeah, it was pretty cold out there. But
Yeah, I'm sick of the snow. I'm sick of the cold temperatures. There's no end in sight.
I love the snow, though. One struggle is my car has not been handling the snow very well. It's gotten stuck a couple times. But
Mine hasn't been doing well in the snow either. But here's what we're dealing with for the headlines. Tomorrow is going to be very windy. There's a chance of snow Friday. Doesn't look like much for this area. Probably about an inch, possibly 2 inches, especially north of Ames. And then yet another Arctic blast is coming through for the weekend and early next week. So here's today's highs as February comes to an end. 16 in Ames, 8 degrees in Mason City, 18 in Des Moines, 27 in Ottumwa, so basically teens for most of the state, and that has a lot to do with the Arctic air coming down from the northeast and from the snowpack that we seem to keep getting storm after storm. And after this Friday, it actually looks pretty clear in the future, but there is going to be another Arctic blast, so stay tuned. I'll break down everything for you coming up in my full forecast.
Thank you, Matt. On this day in 1936, a severe blizzard struck northern and northwestern Iowa on February 25th through the 26th, with heavy snow combining with high winds to make travel all but impossible. Storm total snowfalls amounts include 7 inches at Lamar's, New Hampton, and Rock Rapids, 8 inches at Storm Lake, and 10 inches at Elgana. This was one in a series of significant winter storms to strike Iowa in early 1936, with snows becoming so frequent that on February 20 to 22nd, Sioux Center reported a snow depth of 42 inches on the ground, which is the highest official snow depth on record in Iowa. And now, here's the Jazzy Jackson with a look at what's going on around the country.
Yeah, well, as you can see, we have the temperatures here, and we have kind of split through the country throughout the nation. So I'll have the rest coming up later in the forecast.
Welcome back. Now here's the Jazzy Jackson with a look at what's happening around the nation.
Thank you, Benji. As you can see, we have quite a spread of temperatures throughout the country here, especially in the Midwest and up to the north. We're seeing really low temperatures, as low as -2 over here in Billings. And I'll go into kind of around the country in these coming up. And so to the northeast, we have some real low temperatures. We have 3 in Montreal, 11 in Mackinac Island, and 32 in Detroit. So as you can see around here throughout the country, we have a big temperature gradient moving through, which will kind of separate the temperatures, the cold ones, from around freezing level. Moving down to the southeast, we have temperatures of about 50s up to 75 in Miami, so it'd be really nice to be down there right now. And that's going to range from about 40s, 50s, 60s. But as you see, when we get north and northwest, we do see 29 in Ottumwa. Moving over, we have temperatures again, 50s to 70s here. We have about 49 in Elko, 55 in Salt Lake City. But of course, as you travel south, you do see higher temperatures, 71 in Phoenix and 71 in El Paso. Moving to the northeast side of the nation, we have, or northwest side of the nation, sorry about that. We have temperatures around 30s to the 50s. Once again, I said south. Salt Lake City is in the 50s, and as you travel north, we get all the way up to 38, and as you travel over here, we have -4 in Glasgow, which is very, very cold in comparison to the cities around it. Looking at satellite radar, we have not too much going on. On the west coast, we do have a little bit moving over in around San Francisco area, and of course, down to the south near Florida, we do have some more precipitation there, as well as a few snowy precipitation up in the northern part of the country. Looking at our watches and warnings, as you can see in the northwest part of the country, we have quite a few, but nothing too terrible like we've had in the past few weeks. Futurecast, okay. And the extended forecast, we have 63 degrees in Memphis, Tennessee for tomorrow. That's going to be lowering down to 49, 52 degrees on Friday, 52 on Saturday, 40 degrees, a low one on Sunday, 36 on Monday, and 35 on Tuesday.
Thanks, Jackson. And now it's time to look at tonight's trivia question. What is the temperature that dry air must have to have the same density as moist air at the same pressure? Is it A, virtual temperature, B, potential temperature, C, dew point, or D, equivalent potential temperature? We'll have your answer coming right up. Now let's have a look at the week ahead with the majestic Matt.
Thanks, Benji. Well, the trend for this winter, at least February, has been snowstorm, and then right after the snowstorm, Arctic cold air coming from the north. And just a matter of fact, this week we have a chance of snow on Friday, and we have some more Arctic air coming as March kicks off for the start of almost spring. So I'll break down the weather for you coming up after the break. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Like I said earlier, we've been getting snow and then we've been getting cold air. That's kind of been the pattern for February. As we take a look at the week ahead, tomorrow's going to be a fairly windy day. It's going to be decently temperature-wise, but the wind chill is going to be brutal. I'll show you that in a little bit. There's going to be a chance of snow on Friday. Not too much snow, nothing like we've been dealing with these past few weeks. And then another Arctic blast is coming from the northwest into our region. So spring really isn't anywhere close, unfortunately, right now. Right, here's the conditions outside in Ames. 15 degrees, winds east-northeast at 8 miles per hour, which makes the feels like temperature about 4 degrees. So it is fairly chilly out there, and it's going to remain very cold for the night. Here's the current temperatures across the state. 15 in Ames, up in Spencer, 7 degrees, and down in the southeast in Burlington, 31 degrees right now. So quite the contrast across the state. Colder up to the northwest, warmer down to the southeast, and these cold temperatures are accompanied by an east-northeast wind about 9 to 13 miles per hour across the state. 9 here in Ames, 13 up in Mason City, so nothing too crazy, but here's the wind chill tracker tomorrow. It's going to be -5 degrees in Ames tomorrow morning for your 8 a.m. class, -10 in Fort Dodge, negatives over in the west, positive single digits down to the southeast. And as we go on, -1 degrees in Fort Dodge, 1 here in Ames in the afternoon classes. So really, it's going to be a fairly brutal day tomorrow, mostly because of those winds that are going to be whipping around. So here's a current look at the satellite and radar. No snow in our area, which is kind of a nice sight to see, but there are a lot of clouds coming in, which is actually going to not really help our temperatures out tomorrow. It's going to keep things cool, and as those winds aren't going to help those temperatures out either. So here's the futurecast. I mentioned a chance of snow on Friday. Here's tomorrow at noon. It's going to be cloudy for most of the day. We will get a few breaks of sun, and then Thursday there's a little bit of a wave that may hit northwestern Iowa, Spencer, and Fort Dodge, possibly a dusting for you guys. And as we move forward towards Friday, this is more of a serious snowfall than the Thursday night one. Ames and north is mostly looking at 1 to 2 inches. Northern Iowa, Mason City, Spencer, and up into Minnesota, you guys might be looking at more like 2 to 4 inches, but it's early. This track is going to change, but the important thing to note here is that it's not going to be anything like the last few storms we've been dealing with in Ames. So tonight it's going to get down to about 10 degrees there is a slight chance of wintry mix. There may be a little freezing drizzle, so be careful on the roads, on the sidewalks. It might be a little slippery. East-northeast wind, 5 miles per hour, and that wind is going to really ramp up for the day tomorrow. It's going to be 14 degrees for a high, but like you saw earlier, those wind chills are really going to be brutal for that day. So north-northwest winds, 15 miles per hour. Notice how those winds shift coming out of the north-northwest, bringing that cold air from the northwest and from Canada. So really, it's going to be a brutal day tomorrow. It's going to warm up a little bit on Friday, and then here's that chance of snow for Ames, 60%. I'm not really sure if it's going to go north or if it's going to hit here, so stay tuned for our Thursday show. We'll have that covered for you there. And then this is what I am sure of. There's going to be a big Arctic blast coming into our area Sunday with a high temperature of 2. Monday morning is going to be a low of around -16 with some brutal wind chills accompanied by that cold air. So stay tuned. We'll try and keep you guys as warm as possible.
Thank you, Matt. Let's take another look at tonight's trivia question. What is the temperature that dry air must have in order to have the same density as moist air at the same pressure? Is it A, virtual temperature, B, potential temperature, C, dew point, or D, equivalent potential temperature? So Jackson, what do you think?
I'm going to go with A, virtual temperature. And I think that's because Dave would hate me if I didn't get the answer right.
What do you think, Matt?
I have to agree. This is a classic meteorology 301 question, and Dave, I don't think Dave would like it too much if we got this one wrong. So.
Yep, it's on my 301 test tomorrow. So yep, let's take a look at the answer, and it should be A. Or trivia poll. Let's see. Oh, I guess
most people think B.
Most people think B.
Well, most people aren't meteorologists.
That's true.
Apparently. But yes, you guys were right, and the answer is A, virtual temperature. Yeah,
All
got a
right.
big test on Friday for 301.
Good luck to you
Yep,
on that
it's-
midterm. It's a tough one.
It's about that time of year when all the midterms start kicking in, and you just got to get in high gear. Even on the weekends, you got to start studying.
It's grind time. It's grind time, isn't it, Jackson?
Yep.
Even
Yeah,
on
it's
the
time
weekend.
Just push it to spring break, and then we
Yep.
can
Yep.
just relax.
Just relax
but-
for a week.
Mhm.
Take that
Yeah.
weight off your shoulders.
Well, how
but
will the weather be though for the next few days?
it's not going to be nice for the next few days. I mean, we have a chance of snow Friday. Not going to be anything crazy, but after that is what I'm worried about. Really,
Well-
really cold temperatures again. Hopefully, it's our last Arctic blast for the year. But I mean,
Perfect
you never
time
know.
to study
You never know.
with midterms coming up.
Seriously,
so
I mean, you're not going to
rather
want to be
study now,
outside,
but-
so might as well camp out in the library and get as much stuff as you can done.
There is a good plan. Well, that concludes tonight's show. Please be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. You can find every show on YouTube under our Size Eyes channel. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on Thursday.